Ayomide here, and you already know what time it is. We're back for another episode of the World Without People podcast. More voices, more real stories, and even deeper conversations that challenge the way we see the world. This season, we're peeling back even more layers, exploring life, love, purpose, and the beautiful complexities of the human experience. New guests, fresh perspectives, and of course, the same unfiltered, soul stirring energy you love. So, whether you've been rocking with us since day one or you're just joining the adventure, welcome. Grab your favorite drink, settle in, and let's keep the conversation going one unforgettable story at a time. So, hello everyone, and welcome to another episode of The World with Ayomide. I'm excited. I'm always excited, but I'm particularly very excited because I get to talk to Muyiwa today. Welcome, Muyiwa Kolawole, to the show.
Hi, thank you very much. Nice to talk to
Thank you,
you.
thank you.
Ayomide. I'm putting emphasis on that for
I
good
know,
reason.
right?
Yeah, my name is Muyiwa, as you mentioned, Muyiwa Kolawole. What do I do? I think I've spent the last couple of years focusing around on energy, electric vehicles, and it's around battery management and alternative uses of energy, right? Also currently living in Accra, playing around the home services market. Like, how do we just provide some services to corporate professionals in their homes? Just a small growing business around here. So yes, that's what I do. Married, and I have a very beautiful daughter turning 5 in July. That's next month.
Yay.
Yeah. Oh, by the
Yes,
way,
sis.
who's graduating today or graduated today? You know, the nursery to primary. So they had a graduation
Oh,
ceremony today in school, and in
oh,
September she's going to be in primary school. Yeah.
oh, that is so awesome. Actually just came from PTA today for my nephew, and it was so cute. Like all the little cute things that they do. And I was just like, oh, and like, but wait, is this the end of semester in Accra?
It's end of June. End of June. But they're
Okay,
having
okay,
it
so this
today. So
was,
she's still gonna
yeah.
go to school until June 20 something.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay, okay.
Something, yeah.
Okay, cool. That's interesting because they're in school until July, and I'm like, well, why are they in school for that long?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah. I think in Nigeria that was what I was also used to. I was used to the holiday starting beginning of July or something. But here it ends in June, towards the end of June.
oh,
But I think I've
oh
not
wow.
taken note to when they resume though. Maybe they resume a week or two earlier than Nigeria or something like that.
Yeah.
But yeah, towards the end
Okay.
of this month, our term is over, and then yeah, the long holiday starts. Long holiday.
Exactly, exactly. And I was going to ask about that, so I'll wait until until all of that because I want to know how the long holiday works for you guys as a parents. Because now I'm still just doing parents by association, but we'll talk about that. But before I go back or go there, I should say I always like to tell people how I know my guests if I've ever met my guests before. And I met Muiwa actually just last year officially. I think officially. Like obviously I knew that he was married to one of my friends, Amaka, and I've known Amaka for like a long time. We were in New York together at some point, or at least our paths crossed in New York. I'm pretty sure it was in New York. And just kind of kept in touch. I don't know if she's ever told you this, just like we did this whole going through Lagos and taking pictures and things like that. And yeah, so it's been very, yeah, so we've had kind of those like little moments, danced in New York, all of that stuff. Anyways, obviously knew that she was married to, but never met him. No, actually it wasn't last year. Because
2023.
last Yes, it was even before 2023 because it was when you were still in Nigeria before you moved to Accra.
Oh yes, that's very true. That's what I was saying. So
Yes.
it's
Yeah,
been
yeah.
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 I think
Yeah, yeah.
we really bonded in 2023. We bonded in 2023 a lot more. Yeah, but we
Right,
met
right,
in Lagos before
right,
moving to Accra. But yeah,
right.
2023 was a bonding
Yes,
moment. Yeah.
yes,
Mhm.
exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. And it's funny. I think one of the things that you remind me of my brother in that you are a guy girl, if that makes sense. I always say I'm a girl guy, like I don't know, whatever the English is. A lot of my friends for the longest time were guys. Like just instantly, and not no offense to the ladies, but I just vibed with guys instantly. And I feel like that was what it was like with us as well. Like you vibe with me, I vibe with you, and I feel like you vibe with a lot of females. Like you're the one person, like my brother, all his friends, all his friends are female. And I think it's Amaka I need to ask when next she's on this show or when she comes on this show, like how do you deal with that? But and it's funny because I feel like I talk to me right now more than I talk to Amaka. That's the whole point of this story that I'm trying
I
to
think so,
say.
actually. I think so. That's a good
Yeah.
thing. Yeah.
But no, just a really, really cool person. And I think, obviously, especially as I was getting married, just the way he showed up and the way he checked on me. And I'm not saying this to make you like blush or anything. I just say that to say that people don't realize that, again, through that journey, don't just say, oh, she's getting married and yeah, it's just all fun and games. Like he was asking, how are you? How's the relationship? Is he doing the right things? Like, wanting to make sure that okay you're not making a mistake, you're taking the right steps, and then even praying for me, right? And I think it's really, really important that we encourage that for especially one those who are married to someone who's just getting married, but even to single friends
Yeah.
or to other married friends. And I say this because I know that Muiwa is very particular about friendships. He's always putting it up, pray for your friends. So I guess the first question is, why do you think it's so important?
Yeah, you're very correct, actually. I'm very big on friendships. I'm very big on friendships. I'm very big on attention to our friendships, right? And that's because as an individual, I go through different phases. I go through different phases. A lot of it I can, we catch up, I share, but a lot of moments I don't share. Like, not because I don't want to share, but maybe because in that moment, of course, you're not sharing. You go through it, you move on, there's something else or something like that. Or you just have different aspects of your lives you share with different people and things like that.
Yeah.
But one thing that is common with everyone is we all go through challenges. I do, you do, like we all go through challenges, right? And because we have to keep moving, we just show up. We show up like you see me, you see everybody, and social media is very. It's for the people say it's not real life, and it's very true. What that means is that
Yeah.
you see my social media, it's just all fun and games, right? We're just all laughing, tagging one country or the other country or something like that. It looks like
What is that about? I really don't understand, but let's talk about that one later. I don't
oh,
really understand.
we'll get to that, all the circles and everything. Like, yeah, it's good, right? But at the end of the day, right, we go through different phases of life, and the example in which you mentioned, right? Marriage is not a walk in the park, right? So if you're going to get married and you say I'm showing up for everything, it's because probably just like apart from what I thought I knew, right? I've done it. I'm doing it now, right? And the journey to start that thing, man, you have to be very intentional. There are things you have to do. You have to be very sure. You can't leave God out of it. You can't leave God out of it. So for me, I think people go through different stuff, and it's very important that whether you know what they are going through or not, just assume that they're also human, just like you, and they're dealing with different things, right? Just like you, they're also human,
Yes.
right? And so if you think you are carrying the weight of the world on your head, wait till you hear someone else's story. And if you know,
Yeah.
and if you can just believe that you are not the only one that is going through whatever, your own situation may be unique to you, but it doesn't make someone's situation less or something like that, right?
Yes.
But we all show up,
Yes.
like
Yeah.
we all complain about different
Yeah.
things. In Nigeria now, people keep reciting the economy, the economy, the economy,
Yeah.
things like that. We're all dealing with different things. So I think it's important to just show up
Yeah.
for people. It's important to be kind.
Yeah.
So you have to be
Yeah.
deliberately kind. You have to be intentionally kind, right? And
Yeah.
you can't if we have a conversation, no matter how long I will laugh all through, doesn't say I shouldn't pray for
Yeah.
you. Doesn't say I shouldn't pray
Yes.
about something. Like it could be anything, right? For your silent, I don't need to know what it is, but your silent prayers, your silent
Yeah.
desires, and all of that. So I think I just try to just canvas for people to be more thoughtful towards their friendships, not
Yeah.
assume that life is a bed of roses for one person or two people or whatever, no matter whatever they are seeing on social media. Like, hey, that's the front we are putting. We have our real lives. Yeah.
I really love that. And I really appreciate you. And I really appreciate that. And it's funny because I feel like I carry my friendship on my head. Like, you know, a friend of mine's husband. So, I mean, he's much older, so I call him uncle or whatever. But like I know three of the five boys, they're five boys, and we went to Osun State. And I remember my mom was like, you can't always go for everything. And I'm like, trust me, I understand that. But you know what? Sometimes you just by just being there, right? Then
Listen,
I think it makes a difference, right? Like,
yes,
yes, I can send prayers, I can send comforting words,
of course.
even can send money. But I think the difference between being there, right, and doing all of that is quite varied. And I always say about the church I used to go to in Jersey. We show up. I don't care where in the world that it is. We there's a representative of us.
Yeah,
At whatever your function is, and I really think it's a very, very great thing that
yeah,
I've been fortunate to have. I think about it a lot, and I'm like, you know what? I'm down for this. This is this is
yeah.
where I want to be.
It's very important to show up for people in their big moments, right? And showing up for the right reasons, right? Yes, I know small chops is nice, but it's not just but it's I won't show up for you because of the small chops, right?
Yeah, yeah,
I'm going to show
yeah,
up at your event or your something that is a big deal to you, right? My goal is
yeah,
there. How do I make sure that through this day, if it's just one smile, I can add to
yeah,
that event or to your face for
yes,
it? Come on, it's worth
yes.
everything. It's worth
You
everything.
didn't get on a flight for small chops. You didn't come from Accra to Lagos for small chops.
I don't get good
Please.
small chops here, by the way. I don't get good small chops here, so I can come to Lagos for small chops.
Oh my god. Okay, fair enough. But again, it brings the question. First of all, guys, we're going to be talking about fatherhood, guys. But I also think it's very important that we're starting this way, right? Because I think one of the things is people forget that outside of you as a parent, you're still. But I think maybe I'll say it this way: women more than men, right? And maybe that's the wrong narrative, but that's what it always feels like that a woman's identity, especially once she's a parent, is that, right? Whereas you have friends, you have a job, you have, siblings, all of that stuff. But anyways, I was gonna say that to the point though, do you think that sometimes showing up can be obligatory, if that makes sense? So what I mean by that is like I personally am team show up. I don't care what the inconvenience is. And to be fair, I always tell God that my absolute prayer is that I'm able to show up for everything. So one, do you think it's obligatory? But two, because I was talking to my friend Dami, I think you know Dami, about it yesterday, and we were saying, well, I don't want us to, especially again as women, we only seem to show up when it's a wedding or when it's baby shower. But what of those little things? Like even sometimes, okay, you broke up with that nonsense boy, let's go out and celebrate, right? Or you got a promotion at a job, like let's go out and celebrate. Like I guess I'm asking two questions in this. One, do you think that we do a lot of obligatory, almost like I want to give you back your presence kind of thing? And then two, do you think that we don't do enough of celebrating small moments as friends or in general as a culture, I would say?
I'll start with the second bit, right? No, we
Yeah.
don't do enough. We don't do enough celebrating
Mm.
small moments. I think we have been roped into a culture where you celebrate weddings, you celebrate milestone birthdays. Because why are you
Right.
celebrating your birthday when you turn 31? You only celebrate
Yeah.
30, or something like that. Who
Yeah.
celebrates 30, 26? It's not 25 you're
Yeah.
supposed to celebrate or something
Yeah.
like that. So been
Yeah.
roped into a culture that has defined what we celebrate and what we don't celebrate. But I don't think
Right.
so. I don't think that should be right, because at the end of the day, it comes back to what I mentioned earlier, right? We all go through different things, right? And there's always a reason for you to feel down. Like it's
Yeah.
very important that you have more moments where you just like, okay, this is my moment. I'm taking it, like, and just
Yeah.
let's celebrate. Let's just celebrate this, right? Again, right? As we get older, I'm just realizing that we all just were dreaming that we'll live till when we're 90 or when we're 100 or anything, right?
Men.
But life happens. Life
Yes.
happens, right? And people died at 21. People died
Yeah.
at 28 or something, right? Delayed gratification? No. No. I was talking to a friend last week and I was like, as much as we are celebrating, we are saving for the future. We should not forget it now. We should not
Yeah.
forget it now, right? And if you know, I'm big on birthdays. Oh, my birthday is not a joke.
Yes.
I don't.
Yes. From January
Like,
to December.
my birthday is in December, but every year it's a big deal. Every year it's
Yes.
a big deal, and it will always be a big deal. I don't care. I'll make this around my birthday, so you'll assume I'm turning 20 this year or something like that.
Happy
But
20.
But it's not the case. It's going to be the same next year, right? It's
Yeah.
going to be the same the year after, whatever milestone that you're waiting for. I don't know, but for me, it's every time, and even beyond birthdays, right? There are many things to celebrate. You mentioned the promotion. I mentioned earlier that my daughter finished, graduated from
Yeah.
nursery to primary today. When I did
Yeah.
nursery to primary, it was just you're just going to the next class. There was no graduation or anything. But
Yeah.
apparently, it's a thing, and that's it. And we already discussed it. After school today, we are going out to celebrate because it's a big deal, right?
Nice.
And moments come and they go, right? All we have are just
Yeah.
memories that we'll share and things like that, right? And
Yeah.
so, yeah, for me, it's important to just celebrate different moments. Like you can even just choose a day, like, okay, it's been a very hard week, and I'm going to celebrate it, and it's fine, right? On the other end, like talking about showing up, or whether it's obligatory or something like that. Um,
Yeah.
I wouldn't say there's a flat answer to that, right? It shouldn't have to be, but
Yeah.
again, there are instances where you show up out of obligation, right? I'll give an example. You're in a friends group, you're not necessarily friends with the 10 of you, right?
Yeah.
But when one
Yeah.
person is doing something,
Yeah.
irrespective, you are going to show up. Not because
Yeah.
oh, that's your best in the group, because to be fair,
Yeah.
in every 10 friends group, you're probably close to like two, three, four, maybe five, and then
Yeah.
the rest of them that you guys are cool. It's not as if you are
Yeah.
hating on each other, but
Yeah.
ideally, if not for that friends group, you probably won't go out of your way. So you show up out of
Yeah.
obligation, and
Yeah.
it's not bad. So it's not
Yeah.
showing up out of obligation is not necessarily a bad thing. It's not a bad thing, right? In some
Yeah.
cases, it's the right thing to do. Let's
Yeah.
put it that way. It's the right thing to do. So
Yeah.
I did, but generally, if you're going to show up for someone, try to be present. Try to be present.
Yes.
Don't if I tell you I'm showing up for you, then I shouldn't have to
Yeah.
be fighting and get angry if I don't get rice to eat.
Yes.
Something
Oh
that
my God. Yes.
yeah.
Hey everyone. If you're enjoying the podcast, please don't forget to hit the subscribe, like, or share button. Whether you're on Spotify, Apple, Amazon, or YouTube, your support helps us to reach more people. Stay tuned for more amazing conversations, and thank you for being a part of our community.
When the rice didn't get to me, and then I get angry because again, like, why are you here exactly?
Oh,
Did you come all the way for
oh
small
my
chop?
God.
Like, so it's important to just show up for people, yes, but also there are at times when you show up out of obligation, and that's fine too. That's fine. Yeah.
I really love that, honestly, because I always tell people, because, sometimes people will say, oh, but I don't want to stress you. And I'm like, but am I stressed? Like, if I don't, last, I just don't do makeup because even if it's a makeup worthy event, I just don't do makeup or I just don't buy gele or something. But I don't think, like, I think that, you make a really, really good point, right? Can I, should we be what's the word, prudent, like, so in other words, if financially, like, really, really, truly, truly, truly financially I can't do it, then yeah, absolutely, don't go and don't, what's the word,
Yeah.
don't beg,
Yeah.
or make yourself poor for something. Even I don't even care how close you are to that person, right? Just in general, you have to also think about yourself in certain things. But if you can do it and you can afford it, and it doesn't cost you anything, and for me, sometimes I always think about it, I'm like, if I, to your point, let's say the person isn't really, really a close friend, but I think, okay, it might be nice to go to this thing or whatever. Then if you say I'm going to another country, can I put a tour, with it? Can I, add something else to it? Can I make sure I see other people
Yeah.
that are maybe close? But I think
Yeah.
people need to understand that it's okay to think about these things as holistically as possible, if that makes sense, right? Like, don't just think, I'm just going for party. No, okay, what else can you maybe make out of that trip or something like that? I don't know if I'm making sense, but I just think that I think sometimes people are myopic in the thought process, and that's why they think, I don't want to go anywhere that, if it's not my best friend, I don't want to waste money, I don't want to. I'm like, life is not like that. Like, you never know who you're even meeting, who you're like, all of these things. It's not because you're going there thinking about that, but you just never know, I guess, is my point. And I think people just need to be a lot more open, is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, just generally, it's as a society, we need to be as much as there's narrative that just goes, prioritize yourself, but I think we need to be less of self. We need to be less
Yes.
of self, right?
Yeah.
A lot of us we end up. It's usually a myopic approach to the thought process, right? And in that thought process, it's just you and some immediate feeling, right? It's not
Yeah.
necessarily a rounded like what's value can we get out of this generally? What's value that we can get out of this generally, right? So I think we need to be less of self, right? Oh no, oh, I don't like this person, and then
Yeah.
also something like that, right? It's not necessarily always about that, right? Yeah, she said you don't know what could happen, which is very true. Because at the end of the day, right, you're too small to be the reason why God created you.
Mm,
God didn't.
mm,
You're too
mm,
small.
mm,
God didn't create you
Come
for.
on. I love that.
It's true, right?
I love
We
that.
are all people of purpose. We are all people of purpose and
Mm,
everything. And if God created you because He wanted you to come out to the earth to enjoy, like because of what we are not 7 billion already. Like you're not come to bring
right.
one person to come and cause traffic. Like it's
Especially in us.
it's
Oh my
it's
God.
it's beyond you. It's beyond you,
Yeah.
right? And if we try to live in purpose, we just realize that it involves the people around us. And as long as you
Yeah.
didn't come from when you were created and you got into this world, you didn't have a list of these are the people that are important to you on your palms. That means
Yeah.
you don't
Yeah.
know. Like it could be someone you meet now, it could be someone you meet in 50 years, it could be
Yeah.
anywhere and anything. So you just have to keep be open, like be broad, and just be less of self. Because again, you're not created because of you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love it. I love it. Okay, we're going to go into fatherhood, but first let me ask you about your childhood. So you are it's three brothers, right?
Two
Am I correct?
brothers. Two brothers. So three. Oh well, yeah, we
Three
are
boys.
three. There
Three
are three of
boys.
us.
Eh?
Yeah, three.
Like I'm like I know this part now.
Yes, yes,
Okay,
yes, yes.
there are three boys. And remind me, I don't remember your position. You are first.
I'm a middle child. Middle child.
Middle, yeah, the middle
Yeah.
child. It kind of makes sense. I think it kind of makes more sense now.
Yeah.
Okay, you're the middle child. So, how was childhood like? You don't have to go into the details of parents are together, parents are not together, but I'm just saying, like, what was as a child? What were your what would you say your feelings were when you look back? Were you generally peaceful? Were you generally jovial? Were you generally like what would you coin if you think about your childhood? What is a term or adjective that you would use?
Hmm. My childhood. It's quiet. I'll say
Interesting.
quiet, right? I think I kind of just embody this middle child thing, right?
Yeah.
It's 1 year between my older brother and I, and it's almost 4 years to my younger
Yeah.
brother, right? So I grew up in a period when my older brother was always the older brother. There was no
Yeah.
time for me, and it was also if it's like a year gap, right? It's not like oh no, he's much older, can take care of himself, while you can take care of yourself, and something like
Yeah.
that, right?
Yeah.
And the point where you start getting to be able to understand your environment and everything, boom, someone else comes, right?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
then the attention shifts there. And at every point in time, right, I had someone that was always going ahead, and I'm like, okay, I'm next, right? But that was my parents' experiment. So then when I'm
Yeah.
thinking I'm next, they're like, okay, no, you are not going yet. Wait, 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 wait. This is going to learn everything. It was the experiment going ahead. Okay, we'll let him go out in the evening. Oh, he came back late. Okay, Muyiwa, you're not going anywhere. Like, so I probably just didn't get the chance to
Yeah.
do a lot of things, and I was just that middle child. My younger brother, to me, he of course a pet by everyone, and actually still reflects today. He's the family diplomat, right? He's good with everybody. He's good with everybody.
Yeah.
Yeah. Growing up, it was good. Definitely born in this loving home. My parents are still together. Kind. We had was quite traditional in the sense that this is what daddy used to do. This is what mommy
So, yeah.
used to do and everything, right? And at some point, mommy stayed at home,
Yeah.
and daddy went to work, and all of those things, right? Yes, it was the one thing that came out of it that I think was very good for us was because I call it a very traditional home, right? And it seemed like oh, there were gender roles involved. But my mom only had three boys, so who was going to be in the kitchen with her?
Exactly.
Yeah. So those are some things that had to change in my house because my mom was not going to kill herself for,
Mhm.
for anybody or anything, right? So she raised children that are very comfortable in the kitchen, are very good, like, because at different points, you are blending the pepper, you are
Yeah.
cutting the tomatoes, you are doing something because people are not going to kill me.
Yeah.
And that was something that was very useful to us. Like doing house chores was never a big deal. Not because I think the way my parents' relationship, the way it was, if we had a girl, probably would have been doing, would have actually, we may have segregated some things. Like this, the boys
Yeah.
are doing this, the girls are doing this. But hey, we didn't. That luxury didn't exist in the home for
Yeah.
the three of us, and for most of it, right, we just had to. My mom was, her slippers was always near. Like, I don't yeah, she did a lot of stuff. My dad is very jovial, is a clown, right? But he was quite traditional. Like that, he cooked for us when we got into secondary school. Like I
Hmm.
remember the milestone cooking days. Like,
Yeah.
and after
Yeah.
that, you've eaten it once. What do you
Oh,
want again? Like, what do you want again? Every other thing was my mom. But we had to,
yeah.
right? We had to, and it was even a battle at some point. But at some point, my dad was like, "These boys have started doing some things that they are not supposed to do." But yeah, I think it was easy to navigate because over time, right, it became a thing. We were all just doing everything, and it was fine. My dad was going
Yeah.
to work, and my mom was at home, so it's not as if he was saying most of it. So,
Yeah.
but very loving. I personally, yeah, middle child, right? Yes, I'm saying it in my yeah, this, but I don't think I was the favorite on any part, right? So I was the first son that got something, and I was the guy in the middle, right? But yeah, I think it was good growing up with the boys. We're three boys, fights and all of those things. But yeah, we get along very well. We're good. My older brother is in the Air Force, so currently based in Abuja. Sorry, I have to think. You know, they move those people around.
No worries.
Is
No worries.
my younger brother that is in not America, so he's just yeah, but we're good. We're good. Good.
That's good. I love that. It's funny. I'm sure if you asked your parents, you might have been the favorite because you were the quiet one. You'll be surprised. I feel like we underestimate how our parents see us sometimes. Like, my sister always has this argument, oh, you did this and you did that. And my mom would be like, what the hell are you talking about? Like, are you in my heart? Like, you don't know how I feel or how I think about the situation and stuff like
I
that.
think
So you'll be surprised.
yeah, it's not too far fetched actually, because I think when we went to uni, right, for some reason, until I graduated, I didn't know. My parents, I thought they didn't pay as much attention to my own academics. Of course, not my
Right.
education, of course, they paid fees and all of those things, but to my academics, like my performance in school, I thought they didn't pay
Yeah.
much attention to it, right? To school in Nigeria, right? Seventh class upper, but I barely just got into the seventh class upper. But when we
Yeah.
were graduating and everything, and so we are just talking about it, my parents already knew what I was graduating with. And it was funny,
Hmm.
but I was wondering, how do you know? You didn't check. But they're like, oh, we know it's you. We know what you can do. So
Yeah.
basically, they had so much confidence and so much faith in me,
Yeah.
even though I barely made it. But they didn't
Still.
assume that
Still.
I was going to, while I thought they were not checking, it was confidence.
Yeah.
Like they thought, oh, this is the
Mm.
one I'm not worrying about. This is the one
Yeah.
I don't
Exactly.
necessarily need to,
Exactly.
because I know this person is going to deliver and all of that.
Exactly.
And
Exactly.
funny, yes, I did, but I didn't see it like that until the end. I didn't see it
Yeah.
like that until the end that they just
Yeah.
thought this was one less one to
Don't
worry
worry
about.
about.
Like, this is one less one to worry about. We'll focus on these ones. Like,
Yeah.
yeah.
And it's
I'm
actually
glad I
really
didn't
true.
disappoint them, by the way, because I almost disappointed them. And that would have been a shocker.
Well, clearly you wouldn't. And I think, and I was going to talk about it, it's funny what parents think and believe. And sometimes when my dad says, you're my wife and you're my mother, I'm like, first of all, stop this nonsense. This is your bad things that you people do. But you know how like women will say, oh, call me. I'm like, stop. Like, that's not your husband. But I realized that a lot of it is because of that idea of how they see you, what they see in you, right? Like for my dad, it's that caring thing. It's that, oh, no matter what the situation is, I'm going to, stand up. I'm also the first child too, I think, and so little things like that. And and I think I'm curious for you. Do you see with your daughter now what she can be or what she is going to be? Like, I've heard a lot of people say, like, oh, you see some of these interviews where the mother is like, I always knew he was going to be a pastor. Like, even when he was doing all of his nonsense, he was in the world, he was in the prison, he was whatever, I knew he was going to be a pastor. Do you feel like you have that for your daughter?
No, I'll say no, right? But at the end of the day, I probably she's throwing a part that I think okay maybe, but I just want maybe give it to like maybe when she's 10 to maybe say okay
Okay.
maybe yes because she likes the arts generally,
Oh, yeah.
like
Yeah.
she loves the arts, everything around that. What just think about it, whether it's in drawing, photography, or whether it's in music, the things that seem like art like gets our attention, right? It's very interested, very curious about
Yeah.
things around art generally in different expressions of art, right? And it just seems like okay, this is something that is very consistent in her life. I
Yeah.
also know life comes at you and just wake up one day and you just realize that she's engineer. And maybe the creativity will still fall in that line. But
Yeah.
I know she loves the arts right now. That's one way to catch her attention in different
Yeah.
ways, right? Either you pull up a pencil or a crayon or you play new music. She has very good ears for music. Like she
Yeah.
knows one, skip this, repeat this,
Yeah.
all of that,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Dance is a big deal. She knows different types of dance, so it's different expressions of art that she just loves now, and just like maybe this could be something. But hey, let's see now. You never know. But so far, it's been very consistent. I think she
Yeah.
turns 5 next month. Since she
Yeah.
was 2, 3, this has been something that has been very consistent till now. Her ear for music is very deep.
Yeah.
Like you
Yeah.
hear a beat and I don't know what it is, but she knows the song just from the
Uh-huh.
first key. If she knows this is this song, and she goes, "I don't want this one." I'm like, "You've not even heard it," and she tells you, "I know it." Move to the next one. Like, and that's interesting. But she's tilting towards the art, but I don't know. Let's see. Let's see. Let's see.
Well, she's definitely her mother's child, that I can tell you. And then, like I said, I think, I
Yep.
told you about the music thing as well. It's so funny. She reminds me so much of my nephew. Like, my nephew reminds me so much of her because even like my grandma was saying the other day that she's not feeling too well, and he goes, "Oh, let me play you relaxing music," and she goes, "So how does she know to calm you down?" And then she's like, "How does he even know? He's 3. How does he know that calming music can calm you down?" I'm like, I don't know where these kids get these things from, but
Yep.
clearly those of them who are born with it are
Yep.
born with it. Like when it comes to some of these things. But
Yep.
let's go back. So without maybe aging you, but feel free to tell us as well, what was that? So you guys were married for how long, and then now you find out you're pregnant. What age were you? What stage were you? Were you mentally ready, physically ready, financially ready? Talk us through that journey.
Yeah. That journey. She was born 2020, right? Yes, she was
Okay.
born 2020. I think we got married in 2018. Right?
Okay.
Got married in 2018. And I think it was quite intentional. It was quite intentional to not try like immediately, right? 2018, that was the year I turned 31, right? Yes, that was 2018, right? That's when we got married. So we knew, okay, we're married now. Of course, all the pressure of, hey, first one this year, next one next year, all those things that we weren't going to feel that pressure. I think it was in 2013, 2019 that I think we got to the phase where we were like, all right, let's do this, right? In terms of being ready financially, physically, mentally, and all of those things. Um, I don't know. Let me not speak on the financial bit because, well, we're okay. So it's yeah, it's not like we needed a lot of preparation for that bit. So well, it was just the mental bit and all of that, right? But it was in that 2019, towards the middle of 2019, ish, we're like, okay, this is something we want to do at some point. This is something we really want to do, right? So maybe this is a good time to start trying, right? Of course, before then. I mentioned traditional Nigerian home. Like we've counted 1 year, 2019 has reached. You've not told us anything.
Kí ló ṣẹlẹ̀? Kí
Like
ló ṣẹlẹ̀?
you know, actually, just funny story. I remember. I think it was in August of 2019. Um, we were in. That was very. That was just. I was very unhappy. No, angry, not unhappy.
Mm,
When the US on holiday, just myself and my wife, and I got a call from my uncle, my dad's brother,
mm.
telling me to talk to him man to man. What was wrong? Yeah. I was like, I was very
Oh,
confused. I was very, very confused. Like, as how? Like, with what? And the way he repeated the man to man, I was like, who that you think I thought I was talking to? Why are you repeating this man to man? like, and just when I explained that,
oh.
oh, this is a choice. And they're like, a choice? I was like, yes,
I'm sure yeah, wait. Are you all right?
like,
Are you
it's
crazy?
fine.
Who
That's
makes
not your
this
problem.
choice?
That's not your problems. Let's help you solve it as elders. Yeah, but that was interesting. So, but funny, right? Around that time, we already had the conversation that we are going to start trying
Yeah.
everything, but I didn't make that conversation less annoying anyway. But fast forward to 20, this is when the mindset in 2019, we would say we were quite ready.
Yeah.
Not ready for everything that will happen when you have a child, but at least we're ready to have that child. We're ready to start that phase. And then 2020 happened and COVID,
Yeah.
right? I think we found out pregnant in December of 2019. Yeah, she was born in July. So we knew for sure that at the beginning of December that we
Yeah.
were going to be having a child, right? And then the whole COVID thing just started spreading and everything. And then your level of preparedness just changed. Like,
Yeah.
oh, like when we say we're ready, all this uncertainty, all this wear mask, all this don't touch anybody. We're not the order
Yeah.
of the day, right? So we're not ready for this, but
Yeah.
we're ready in this. And then the different a roller coaster of events happened, right?
Yeah.
So she was going to be born in July, so we figured that we wanted to have her in the United States.
Right.
So I think we had Amaka was going to go ahead in April
Mm.
of 2020 was when she was supposed to leave. Everything was already set. She was going to go.
Yeah.
And then we got locked down in March.
Oh God.
I got locked down in March. And everything just became something there. So the readiness, level of readiness really changed because at that point,
Mm.
we thought we had everything all mapped out. And then it became,
Mm.
what next? What do we do
Mm.
now? How do we do this? Oh,
Mm.
gift registry is already sending everything to the US. We are
Mm.
stuck here now. Okay, they are locking us down for 2 weeks. All right,
Right.
no problem. We're still good for April, right? All right, we're still good.
Yeah.
And then they extended by another 2 weeks. And then our April date was tampered with at that point, right?
Yeah.
And then they extended indefinitely, and that was when it became a lot more chaotic, right? Because hey,
Yeah.
we're now locked down in the house with me, a pregnant woman that really wanted to leave the country. I was still pregnant, so dealing with all the other emotions that are coming from it. So it really just there were a lot of the emotional roller coaster that period was a lot because it was just forget dealing with COVID as just regular people. It was now dealing with COVID as you're pregnant and you're not supposed you thought you were not supposed to be here. Let me not say that we're not supposed to be here because the man
Yeah.
proposes, right? We were like,
Yeah.
we,
Yeah.
yeah. So
Yeah.
we thought, oh, we're not supposed to be here. So there was a lot of chaos. So readiness was a bit shaky gets towards the end because it was not until the end of June or was the beginning
Mm.
of July that I found a hospital and doctor in Nigeria.
Mm.
So it was before then we didn't think we needed to because
Yeah.
everything was already set and things like that. And then that was another period of chaos. Like, where's the right hospital?
Mm.
Who are the doctors they have? Like, okay,
Mm.
now they have these different doctors, and it was just different from when the whole let's do this started. Because now
Yeah.
you can't even go for antenatal we have because hey,
Yeah.
COVID, they're not letting people in, so it was a very
Wow.
difficult experience. Yeah, and she came. I think end of last day of July. She's July 31, right? So she came in July, and we just had to be ready. And again, it was just different because
Yeah.
COVID, so we couldn't get as much help. Like this whole thing that
Yeah.
everybody comes, you have so much help. We're not
Yeah.
stopping the help because you don't want everybody
Yeah.
to come from everywhere to be carrying the child. Like, hey, every day they were still counting the death toll. Like, like, so it was a bit
Yeah.
difficult, but that was some experience. But I think
Yeah.
it's kind of just on knowing to us, it just shaped how we have been generally because from the very onset we had to be with her.
Yeah.
We didn't get a lot of help with being with
Yeah.
her, which meant that everyone was, when I say everyone, well, at some point, to be fair, like my wife's mom was around for a few weeks, but
Yeah.
hey, she also had to go back because we were still locked down, right? So she also had to go home, like still a family at home. My mom came for
Yeah.
like a week or something, and
Yeah.
finally we got help. We got this lady to help us and
Yeah.
everything. But hey, it was still a newborn. We didn't get everybody to be around to help at the same time. So forcefully, we got very involved,
With her life.
very
Yeah.
involved with her life, and somehow it's just been a good thing because I think it's just helped a very strong bond just from the onset. You had no choice, and having no choice sometimes, and in this instance, was very helpful. It was very helpful.
Yeah. It's funny when we were saying we were gonna do this. I never even thought about it from a place of you doing this through COVID. I can't even imagine. I mean, I feel it's still 2022 and we're still dealing with COVID, right? Dealing with how they wanted, like nobody can be in the hospital, da, da, da. Like it was just that kind of the
Yeah.
environment. So, and I can't even imagine the change of plans.
Um,
Like I feel like I would have been so like distraught. And to your point, she's still going through the emotions of being pregnant and all of that. So I can't even imagine. And so for you as a father, would you say that you had a lot of fears, anxiety around that time? What was your emotions at that time?
to be honest, I wasn't afraid. There was no. So I outside. I'm a deep thinker, right? In the sense that I try to play out all the scenarios. I tried to play out all the scenarios, right? And I picked the ones that these are the ones that cause worry. This is the one with less
Yeah.
worry because
Yeah.
I'm not very good at worrying. So anyone that lets me avoid it, I'll just take that option. So the only element of it all that I didn't have control over was actually my wife.
Right.
Yeah, she was the one that was. I didn't understand how she was feeling, and that's the element
Mm,
I didn't plan for, right?
yeah.
To be very honest with you, I think she probably knows this, but way before that June, July, from like May, I'd already started research, or maybe even April, looking for
Yeah.
hospitals and doctors. Because in my head, I'm like, now here we go, day. But she was still very, oh no, we are going to go. Don't worry, they'll soon open it. We can still travel in June. But by that time, I was already at the point where I was fine.
Yeah.
I was fine.
Yeah.
But what I couldn't deal with was our own response to all of this, right?
Yeah.
Because it varied. I woke up every day to something different that I
Yeah.
didn't plan for, right? The thought process, something to chase. Like, okay, this is an angle. We'll chase this. I'm like, oh God. All right, we'll chase this. Because again, in that state, you're not doing, oh no, leave me alone or something like that.
Yeah.
Right. So I didn't, my whole plans were disrupted every day.
Yeah.
And we're locked down, so it wasn't as if I was going anywhere. So my plans were disrupted every day, and that was something that I was just hoping that okay, she needs to get to the place where I am. The sooner she gets to
Yeah.
where I am, the easier we can just move with this, right? Again, I was also trying to make sure that because I was already at the point where we're going to, I was fine with having her in Lagos and everything. Like, I was also trying to make sure that not, I was still doing my best to
Yeah.
at least try to, like, so every point in time it was me just trying to just check, did I actually try, or
Yeah.
did I just say because I know we're going to do this in
Yeah.
Nigeria, I didn't try. So I tried different things. At that period, we priced private jet now to see if we
Yeah.
could just quickly go. Go go.
And I think it buttresses the point though that from that period on, you're a father, right? I feel like, and I think that's what I want to get to. Like, you're not a father when they've come out.
Oh no. I think
You're
it's
a father as soon as they're pregnant. Is that, would you say that's true?
no, that's very true. That is very true, right? Because from the moment the pregnancy starts, right, that baby already has needs.
Yeah.
That baby has needs, whether it's antenatal, whether it's these vitamins that need this vitamin B complex or whatnot, whether it's this, their needs already, whether it's a certain way that the mom has to sleep or the kind of food the mom, they already needs from the point of conception, right? And responsibilities already come, right? Okay, this child is going to be hard. Where, how, when, who is going to be delivering this baby? Like, what has the person done? So basically, the needs already start piling up before conception, before anything like that. It's just you and this individual. Like, and when it's just two adults, right? It's very easy to just be your individual selves.
Yeah.
Like I wake up today and it's just I'm fine. Like there's no I trust that this adult can also take care of herself. Right. And this
Yeah.
adult trusts that I am also an adult that can take care of myself. But
Right.
once that third party element comes in,
Yeah.
boom, there's someone that needs joint care. So parenting
Yeah.
begins immediately. You start thinking about like it just starts. So it doesn't start when the child comes out. It starts way before then. From the point you just realize that this child is coming, boom, boom, boom,
Yeah.
your life has changed. Your life has changed.
I
Yeah.
like that. And what would you say has been the most significant way your life has changed?
The most significant way my life has changed. Hmm. That's it. I think I've learned to be a lot more intentional, right? Now I'll explain that better, right? At the point of saying you're ready to be a parent, right? A lot of the times, what you see is the first picture of parenting that we have are our own parents,
Right.
right? So that's the first
Right.
picture of what it looks like. Like, okay, as I said, my mom was at home, daddy was going to
Yeah.
work, and things like that, right? As you just keep, like, when becoming a parent is different, and for me, it was different because the dynamics that was happening in my home in growing up, we didn't have the same dynamics here, right?
Yeah.
One first started with COVID, and I had to just be very deliberate about just entering the house, just not doing it. A lot of intentionality just comes into play, right? How is this child going to go for this care something or something like that, right? You just and a lot of it wasn't the world wasn't the way we knew it anymore. The world wasn't really the way
Right.
anymore. So it just had to take a lot of deliberate planning. Um, I found out that your personality, my personal was different, right? This woman just had a child. It must be a lot.
Yeah.
It must be a lot. And I saw the pain, the phases of pain, right? From just the child being born and then what happened the next couple of days, next couple of weeks and things like that, right?
Yeah.
I just wondered, oh shoot, you have to do more. You
Yeah.
just have to do more. You have to do more. When in the process of doing more, it's not like, oh no, I wasn't working or I had nothing else to do in my life or something like that, right? So now, how do you make the best use of time? How do you make the best use of time? How do you make sure that how was I going to make sure my priorities were very clear? Like what exactly is the most important thing to me in this situation? Like, is it the time I need to put in my job? Because again, it was still COVID, right? As much as I had issues with I had like personal problem because it was a personal problem with having a child and everything. COVID sank a lot of businesses, so which means that there was still the challenge and work
Yeah.
with trying to make sure that we stayed afloat. We
Yeah.
new business lines and things like that, right? So there was also a big challenge there that didn't go away. And it's not like, oh no, I get 6 months maternity leave or something like that. So I
Yeah.
was actively working, actively trying to just weather a very difficult storm of business in that COVID era. Because as of then, again, I mentioned earlier, renewable energy. So we're dealing with small rural homes and all of that, right? Who, with COVID and everything, inflation, their disposable income just diverted somewhere else. So there was a lot that I needed to do. So for me, I had to just rethink like how do I make sure that I'm very intentional about where what I do with my time, where I put my efforts, like and that's something that has just grown consistently because even post COVID, right? You just realize that I have this bond with this child and I have to think of what next. Like it's at every point, right? And it's something that you have to be very intentional about. Like I'm learning, and also I think one thing you mentioned earlier. One, I have male and female friends. Good.
Yes, you have male friends. Of course, you have male friends.
I'm, I think I'm very lucky, right? Because to be very honest, I'm surrounded by very strong women.
Mm.
So when you talk about my female friendships and all of that, right? Like I'm very impressed by the kind of women that I have around me. Like it's very different from what you read on social media. It's
Yeah,
very different from the definition of what men define women to be on
yeah,
social media generally, right? So when you talk about women and you're talking about audience 2K, I'm like, where are you seeing these people? I don't have those people around me and things like that. So I think I have a different perspective to women generally. And what that helps makes me want to do every time is make sure that with my child, like, how do I make sure that this child, of course, with the help of God, is tilting a lot more to the women I know in my real life than what I see on Twitter,
yeah,
right?
yeah,
Or social media generally. And if that's what I want to do, then I'm very intentional about being present, about being a dad, about being making sure that she's steered in a direction and she has role models that she
yeah,
can look out and see and just know that this is what she's aspiring to be, right?
yeah.
Which means that I definitely have to parent with purpose. I have to parent
I
with
like
purpose
that.
because I know this is what I want for my daughter, right? I want her to grow up to be as strong or stronger than these women that I have around me, like these role models, these figures, right? And how do you do that without being intentional? Just leaving her like, okay, no, she's
Your mother's child.
your mother's child, or don't worry, they'll teach her in school or something like that, right? So it's a
Yeah,
bit, it's different. So when I say intentional, is I have a picture and it's quite clear to me. This is what I want for this child to be like,
yeah,
and what that means is I can't say that and do nothing. There are actions required to at least lead this child through that path, right? And that's just it. So parenting for me has been very intentional. Like I know what we are driving towards, right? I know the kind of daughter that I have and the one that God is helping me shape, and where like I'm an instrument, right? I'm supposed to just guide her, right? And that's what I'm trying to do. That's what I'm trying to do.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Bible says, children, blessed is the man whose quiver is full of them. Children are a heritage of the Lord. Blessed is the man whose quiver is full of them. He guides them or he shoots them where they need to be. I don't exactly know the word.
Yeah, I like you, but I don't know the rest of that, so don't worry. But I
But
get your point.
no, but you know, and it was kind of linked to that question I asked you earlier, where you were saying that she's leading to the arts, and so you kind of still then say what I was getting at, which is the idea that we parent with purpose. Like whether it may not be her career, then that you're like, okay, this is for sure what her career is, but you're guiding her and leading her towards the woman that she's going to be by,
Oh yeah.
like you said, by yourself. And I think that's the point. Like that parenting with purpose is the point. Now, I want to ask because again, I feel like girls get a lot of we have to make you this way, and we have to make you that way, and we have to make you that way. I guess you can't really know, but do you feel, let's just say feel, that you would have been a little bit different if it was a boy, if she
Honestly,
was a
I don't
lady?
know. I
Yeah.
don't know. Right? I
Yeah, it's
don't know.
hard to know, right?
I
Yeah.
don't know.
Yeah.
I know. I, I don't know. I
Maybe
can't say.
I think
I
COVID would have. I think COVID may have still made the situation the
the
same to
same.
make
Yeah.
the
Exactly.
difference.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like COVID forced us into a pattern.
Yeah.
Like, and
Yeah.
it would have been the same if it was a boy or a girl.
Yeah.
Maybe it would
Yeah.
have been if there was no COVID and it was a girl. It would have been different from if it was a boy. But if it was a boy, COVID, I won't still allow you just come to my house to be carrying my
Yeah.
child or
Yeah.
anything like that. I'll
Exactly.
still do that. I'll still make sure that I'm doing a lot of the carrying and things like that, right?
Yeah.
So I'm not very sure if I've been different if I was a boy, because to be fair, I also definitely have strong men around me, right? And
Yeah.
it's the same thing. I think one thing that I'm very conscious about as a father is I definitely have I see people, I have a lot of people around me, right? Male, female, and then I go on social media and you're reading a lot of things and just realize that this is a clear picture of what you don't want your child to
Yeah.
be. This is a very clear picture of what you don't want. So, and God willing, you're not going to leave it to chance that, okay, this is to fall into that thing. And it's the intentionality there it's very wide in the sense that comes to where she goes to school, who are the people that are in this school, who are the kind of
Yes.
people in this school, right? Because
Yeah.
again, right, you cannot say, oh, you have to very know that okay, there are different people in different characters, right? And
Yeah.
you can't know the one that you gravitate towards, but you can at least know that this school, this is how they try to shape these people in this
Yeah.
direction. What kind of education what do you want her to have? But there are different ones, right?
Yeah.
There are different styles for this nursery, primary, and all of that, right?
Yeah.
Growing more and more now, Montessori is becoming a lot more popular, and
Yeah.
where people learn to play and things like that. And yes, that is something that is a bit different from some of the like when I went to nursery primary school. There's also your
Yeah.
parents how you write it, 1 plus 1 3 and everything.
Yeah.
So if you're very intentional about some of things like that, in some cases, some of these intentionalities are expensive. But again, as I mentioned, like you're doing it for a purpose.
Yeah.
This is what I want. So you're going to do it because I'm not going to. There are some things you compromise on. There are things you don't compromise on in training up a child, right?
Yeah.
And I think yeah. So it's as much as she's a girl, I'm guiding her like this for like. I don't know if it would have been different if it was with a boy.
Yeah.
But yeah, I can't say that for sure. I don't know.
Yeah, no, that's fair. Okay, so as a girl dad, are there like how people are like, as soon as I'm a girl, I'm getting a gun, I'm doing this. Hey, she must not marry and she must not talk to boy until 30. What are your own isms? Let me put it like that. What are your own isms?
Well, I'm not going to buy a gun. I'm not going to buy a gun. But I've joked about it to Amaka a few times that she can start talking to boys at 24. So
I'm sorry, when did you meet Amaka? I just want to know what age you met Amaka.
it was not 24. That was when 2014 was when, like, I don't know, 27 or something. Like,
Yeah, so she was 24.
oh,
Uh-huh.
oh no, okay, she wasn't 24, but at the same time, so to be honest, right, their fears, right, their fears like,
Yeah,
Hey God,
yeah,
God, please,
yeah,
oh, we are doing our best. You know, you are
yeah,
supposed to do the rest.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
So I think, like every other loving parent, right? Yeah,
yeah,
it's something that you just like, hey God, the thought flashes. Like,
yeah,
God, please, oh, please, help me protect this girl. Like, all
yeah.
this, even some of these my friends, she should not jam their type. She should not-
Oh my god!
No, it's
Oh
true.
my
Like,
god!
let's be very
No,
honest.
but
Right?
it's
I'm like,
really good to meet
this,
you.
hey, this is the figure. Like, as much as possible, if I can
Yeah,
carve the man that she should jam when
yeah,
she's 24.
yeah. But you make a point, right? Like right now is the time to pray for that, and I think being intentional too in that this thing
Oh yeah,
because one of the reasons I even asked is like a lot of people joke about this whole 24, but I find that a lot of women who are also single. At our older ages, part of it is because our parents were like, "Oh, you must not date, you must not date, you must not date." But you need to understand, how to talk to a guy, right? Like, and those are things that I think parents can help build, right? Obviously, she's 5, so we're talking way, way ahead of time. But I just think that, again, if you're already thinking about it and praying about it, then you can also mold her as she's growing along, as she's seeing, okay, she's having interest in guys and things like that. I just think those kind of things are much more important than a lot of parents realize because they just want to don't worry. I don't want to think about it. But yeah, it makes a good point. Okay,
yeah.
okay. One last question. At least as far as fatherhood goes, I have some playful questions. I don't want to say, okay, what is so obviously COVID affects a lot of things in your perspective, which is this thing. But one of the things that we see at least nowadays is we say these COVID babies are a little bit different, partly because like you said, the intentionality and parents being together and being forced to kind of raise them on their own. But I also think in some ways because TV learning had to increase, right? Because you yourself, do you remember how they said R sounds or B sounds or things like that? So you needed tools, right, to teach them. And so, do you think it has been a good or a bad thing? I personally, as much as like I don't want them to be addicted to TV. But my nephew can almost speak like he's really into languages because of that. Like he can easily get French and Spanish and Yoruba because of the devices that, again, we were teaching him. It wasn't like he was watching it to play. Like he doesn't even know like most, how like most kids have like Peppa Pig. Like he doesn't even know some of those things. It's been more academic, exactly educational, but still, he'll still run to the TV, and so sometimes yeah, that battle. So, what would you say was your experience? Although your daughter, I didn't want to mention her name, so your daughter is more artistic, so maybe she was able to get away from it. But do you think that experience and that whole COVID narrative of kids and their devices is good, is bad, or is more overrated, if that's a word?
I think it could go in that direction. I would say, in my own case, I would say it's been good, and I'll
Okay.
explain why. We've been very intentional about many things, right? And as much as she was, yes, she also had to just learn on some screens and things like that, right? There were, there were defined shows that she was exposed to, right? So she never watched anything by chance. There was nothing. She didn't watch anything by mistake,
Yeah.
right? And that's one thing I'm just going to give my wife props for, right? She did most of the pre-watching before she got to
Mm,
watch,
mm,
right?
mm.
So again, right, and I'm talking about like parenting intentionally, right? That's something that she also carved time for. So I'm fair. I'm not. I didn't do that. So I'm just going to give her all the credits on that one. Like
Yeah.
whatever show it was, she watched first.
Yeah.
So my child did not watch any, has not watched any show. Even well, she has heard of some shows in her class, but
Yes,
they
of
don't
course.
watch. They don't watch TV in school. So,
Yeah.
but she has not watched any show that she found herself and wanted to watch. Like
Mm.
funny, like even funny. She even Peppa Pig she didn't watch because I don't know there was something Peppa Pig. She as popular as it is, she has a school bag with Peppa Pig, but that's as much as
Same.
Peppa Pig. That's as much
Get a
Peppa
cup
Pig.
or something.
That's as much Peppa Pig as she has had. But the good thing is, even when we're in Nigeria, like okay, I almost called her name too. She has like she started speaking well, like
Yeah.
with accents and things like that. Although now it's a bit diluted, a bit of Ghanaian is coming into it. Nothing we can do about that.
Exactly.
She started speaking quite fluently, and it was a bit again, right, a bit different because you grew up in Lagos and you're exposed to classroom teaching immediately. You see how common this age factor thing is. Even at
Yeah.
that, I struggle with it, like
Yeah.
personally. Like I don't know how to pronounce some words. Right. I don't know I'm pronouncing them wrong, but I
Right.
have
Yeah.
learned that I'm pronouncing them wrong.
Yeah.
And then some of the time, how I know I'm pronouncing it wrong sometimes is she's the one correcting me.
Mm.
She's the one
Mm.
correcting me, and a lot of it is she started speaking well early because of some of the things she was exposed to watching, and she
Yeah.
knows there are a number of diction programs and all of that that she watched. That of course, they make their own shows very playful. So
Yep.
unconsciously,
Yep.
she's picking up on these things, right? And so it's been quite helpful. Also, even till now, TV time is still limited. So as much
Yeah.
as I think at a certain stage, right, when the world opened up a lot more, then we started limiting the TV time. So it's something that she used to watch a lot of, and then just started reducing gradually. Now she only watches it after school. When I say after school, I mean after school on Friday,
Yeah.
and she can
Yeah.
watch till Sunday because on
Yeah.
Monday, the school week, you're not watching TV.
Yeah.
You're not watching TV. And when you watch after school on Friday, how many hours before you go to sleep? So it's not
Yeah.
like you're watching like all day in front of the TV or something.
Yeah.
And so it's limited, it's controlled. So it's a good thing. It's a good thing. I think again, right, being intentional at some point they have to withdraw gradually. Even the
Yeah.
COVID kids and everything, they have to just withdraw gradually. And it's not too late because if you're a COVID kid, you're 6, 7, you're not too old to withdraw just yet, right? You have to just gradually again. Yeah, this parenting thing. There's no rule book, but again, to just yank it off in its entirety is a bit. It's a lot. It's a lot. So it's something that you have to just do gradually and things like that. And that's what I think we have tried to do with her. But again, this as long as it's not a case, what I would definitely advise against is just putting a tab or whatnot in front of a child that okay, the person can type on YouTube and find whatever the person
That
wants.
they want.
Because
Yeah.
hey, the recommendations every time just keep jumping to different things, and it's easy to find an ideology that doesn't sit well with you or your
Yeah.
own values,
Believe.
things like
Yeah.
that. And
Yeah.
you have it's no, we have. I think it's very important to whatever gen that this their own generation will be called. I don't know what it is. Like make sure that
Or something.
gen whatever gen it will be called.
Gen Z. It has to be Gen Z now. This COVID generation, they have to have their own. They should
They
just
have their own. They have their own. No. Whatever gen, we have to be
yeah.
very, very careful.
Yeah.
It's hard, man. I think it's a dangerous world not to be deliberate with
Yeah.
this. With that generation. It's just
Yeah.
dangerous. Yeah. You mentioned
I think
something earlier.
oh, what did
No,
you say?
no, I'm actually just skipping a topic you mentioned earlier. Like, oh, what?
Yeah.
I think before we started recording, I'm talking about, oh, am I one of those people that's I'm looking for a boy or
Yes, 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 yes. I was still going to ask. I mean, you kind of already answered it, and so this is how I was going to ask it. Actually, I know I said last question, but like, cause she's still an only child, right? Do you feel like, and you have three, like there are three of you. Do you feel like it's a very, very necessary thing? Like, do you think, can you maybe even see a difference? Like, you know how that, maybe she's clingy, and then, but you guys were a lot more independent because it was three of you, you guys got to play by yourself. Like, what do you think about that? And so, even regardless of whether you guys want another one, are you then on the flip side more intentional with with her having friends outside, or is it still just stay at home? Like, how do you feel you're kind of navigating that?
man? Again, right? Coming into this parenting, I mentioned it wasn't what I thought.
Yeah.
Wasn't what I thought. It wasn't how I thought. So again, you had that figure of your own parents. I had figure of my own parents. I'm like, okay,
Yeah.
your own just go to work, come back, they'll tell you, okay, this is how it is. Okay, good. You check report card. And all of those things. And all of those things. But
Right.
it's been very different. And what that means is that man, this thing is a lot of work. If we're
Mm,
being if you're trying to do this thing like if you're being deliberate about how you do parenting is a lot of work. I saw it wasn't a joke, but I saw something that was circulating as a joke with this lady asking her mom and her auntie or somewhere on Instagram where she was asking her parents their best memories of their children.
mm.
And the women were sisters, right? Her mom and mom's sister. And
The Indian.
yes, yes. But so
That's so
it,
funny.
it, you can see you're laughing, right? And then they said, "Oh, the best memory was when they all left for school." Right?
Yep. When they were not at home.
Okay, no, okay. When we were home, what was the best memory? And they're like, when you were asleep,
They're sleeping.
like sleeping. And I think it's like you look at some things like that, and you're like, "Ah, wow, what kind of mothers are these?" and things like that. But they try to emphasize that they love their children,
Yeah.
but it doesn't take away that it's a lot of work.
Yeah.
Like I love you does not mean make the work not work. It's still a
Yep.
lot of work. If you are trying to take care of your kids and everything, sometimes you're not up to it, but you do it.
Yeah. Yeah.
You can't call that fun.
Yeah.
You can't call that
Yeah.
fun, right? It's so I could understand that it's very possible to love your kids because everything you did it out of love. not
Yeah.
because, not out of, oh no, it's easy. It's not because it was easy. It wasn't
Yeah.
because it was easy. It wasn't because it was fun. You did it because you love them, and
Yeah.
generally it's a lot of work, right? So I'm not under pressure or anything. Say okay, multiply and have 8 million,
And be
but
fruitful. Be fruitful and multiply.
like they say multiply, they did not say multiply by two, multiply by 10, multiply by anything. So any multiply that you multiply,
Right? You were two, now you're three. I mean, in fact, the Bible says you become one. So you were one, now you're two.
like you multiplied, like there is no passage Bible you tell me say multiply by 200 or multiply by any number. They say fruitful and multiply. And multiplication does not even have to be biological. But multiply is many.
I
That's
know
many
that's
is
right.
multiply. So
I know that's
on
right.
that note, if again, right, if it happens, yeah, sure.
Yeah.
But no pressure because it's a lot, right? And there's a template, right? If
Yeah.
I have one, I have two, I have everything. So it's and I don't see a world where I become less intentional about the child or
Yeah.
anything or things like that, right? Am I under pressure to look for a boy or anything? No, I mentioned to you earlier on, like there's a narrative around oh boys because boys will do this, boys will do this. But I mentioned to you around, and I have a lot of female friends that are figures that you could just look up to and be like, where is the boy you are looking for if you have
Yeah.
this person?
Yeah.
Where is the boy you are looking for if you have this person or that person or something as a child? Like it's a traditional mindset. It's a traditional mindset too, because let's not go into Nigerian traditions and some things that happens in villages and things like that. But
Yeah.
as we grow, we have to learn
Yeah.
and we have to always remember the importance of unlearning. We have to
Yes.
unlearn. We have to unlearn. There are a lot of things that we have grown up knowing as people that we have to unlearn and ask questions. Like, why
Yeah.
exactly? Like, why do you have to do this? Why do you have to do that? Right? Because you know, it's very dangerous to just take laws or decrees that dead people made and be carrying it in your life as you are living now. I'm saying dead people because they say hey, this is how we do it traditionally. And so somebody now, it
Yes.
has to be from somebody. The person is
And
long.
guess what? We serve a living God. So even we serve a living God.
Like, so why is the dead person controlling my life now when my
Exactly.
heavenly father lives and this is how my heavenly father has instructed? I say it's
I
a
love
tradition of whatever tradition and everything. It was all born out of the wisdom of someone or a group of
Yeah.
people at that time. And wisdom evolves, right? There's
Yes.
nothing wrong with on learning and relearning based off new
Yeah.
wisdom, based off of fresh anointing, fresh wisdom, and things like that, right? So there are a lot of figures that I have around, like strong female personalities in every aspect of life. That you're just like, okay, you can't want more. You can't
Yeah.
want more than this. You can't want more than this, and that's fine. So there's no pressure to look for any this strong child. Like if my child grows up by God's grace and she grows up well, strong woman and everything, man, the fulfillment is going to be 100, man. It's 100.
Yeah.
100. So
Yeah.
no pressure for
And
anything.
she will in Jesus' name. And she will in Jesus' name.
Yeah.
All right. This has been fun. And I have just fun this or that questions for you. So, watching sports or playing sports?
Watching sports or playing sports? Playing sports.
Okay.
Playing sports.
Basketball or football? You can't see, but Muyiwa is tall. So, I'm
Well,
expecting basketball, but I might be shocked.
so playing basketball, watching football.
Ah,
Actually, yeah, in that order is what I actually do. I watch football. I don't play football, but I can play
okay.
basketball. Like, so
Okay. Fair enough.
I like in that direction. Like I don't mind playing basketball, not watching. Then
Yeah.
I watch football. Yeah,
Okay.
so I don't know which one.
Overprotective dad. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
No, that's I don't know which one I'll pick. I like watching football, playing basketball.
Okay. All right. Overprotective dad or you'll be fine dad.
Ah, overprotective. Oh. I don't know what overprotective is, but you're not going to be fine just like that, though. There is no.
Okay. Teaching life lessons or letting kids learn. So,
um,
like, if they went to let's say they went to the kitchen and you've been telling them, "Go away from the kitchen, go away from the kitchen." Will you? beat them to go away from the kitchen, or will you let the water pour on them and they learn to not go into the kitchen? Something like that is what I mean by teaching life
Okay,
lessons or letting kids learn.
okay, yeah. I'll take the fun out of this by saying 50-50. 50
Fair
50.
enough.
50
Fair
50.
enough.
Yeah.
Some things I agree. I
Like,
agree. Some things
I,
you have
I
to
will
teach.
tell you
Some
some
things.
things, and some things your eye will tell you, self. Like,
Awesome. And lastly, work from home or office.
office.
Okay.
And
All right.
yeah, the
Yeah.
collaboration,
You're social enough to like
the
the office.
yeah, the community. I think it's a lot more productive. Whether you say you're an introvert or you're an extrovert. Personally, I think work from office.
Yeah, fair enough. Okay, so I don't exactly know when this episode is coming out, but either ways, I wanted to say Happy Father's Day in advance. Thank you so
Thank
much for
you.
doing this. But before that, you get to ask me one question before we go.
Ugh, the question is just I reckon we wrote it down at the beginning and it's still very valid, right? So
Yeah.
what's talking about parenting and stuff like that, was it a random thought or was it an intentional thought? And it was an intentional thought. Why
Oh,
this
about
episode? Why
parenting.
this episode?
Oh,
Why all this on fatherhood? Why this episode? Because I know it was yeah, it's a topic you've had in mind. I wanted to know if was it just something that just like looking for topic
yeah.
or there was something that struck
Yeah.
a chord and like let's talk about this.
No, so interestingly, we try ahead of the year to kind of put thoughts together on what it is that we want to talk about. And I knew that I wanted to talk to more men this year. So the last episode was actually talking to, and he was single as well, but more about men, right? And then my team put together some of these topics on fatherhood, and well, she had put some of the topics together and sent it to me, and I'm like, oh my gosh, yes, because I knew that, or we've known that we wanted to talk about men since, and I've kind of like a few of the people that I've spoken with. I think it was can't remember who exactly I was talking to on the show. I think it was my friend. Well, one or two people have kind of snuck it in, but we've not had a full episode on it. And I think for me, obviously praying to be parent, I especially love what you talked about now about that intentionality, and I don't think we hear a lot from men's perspective. So we didn't do a Mother's Day episode, for example, but we're doing this as a Father's Day episode because I think it's more important that we talk to men. So yeah,
Yeah. Okay, that's fine.
thank you, thank you. This was amazing. I appreciate you, and like I said, happy Father's Day.
I actually have a last word, right? I think
Yeah,
just
sure.
generally around fatherhood, I think for for men out there and all of that, right? I think it's just very important to just show up consistently.
Mm,
Like, we have to just do it different. We show up consistently. We have to create meaningful bonds. Like it's not again like it's forget that narrative of the mother will train the child or anything like that. We have to create meaningful bonds, conscious parenting choices, and just be role models. Just be role
yeah.
models. Look up to. Yeah, that's
God,
it.
I love that. Thank you, thank you, thank you so much. Thank you for joining me in today's episode. Just like you would share with friends about a great book you read, don't forget to share this if you enjoyed it. Connect with us on IG and Twitter at twwpcast and get details on the website at worldwithoutpeople.org. And hey, remember to make loving others the story of your life. Until next time, this is the world without people.